This is not going to be a long video. I just want to bring you up to speed on what happened to the battery on my Honda Goldwing. About 2 weeks ago, I posted a video stating that my trip to California killed my battery. I left that video open to one's interpretation, but as a result, I received some feedback, I received some good comments, and I also received some good suggestions. So today, I want to bring you up to speed and let you know exactly what happened to the battery on my Honda Goldwing. So let's get started. What happened to the battery on my Honda Goldwing? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Depending on when you started watching my YouTube channel, might even answer your question. Some of you have been watching since the very beginning, while others have been watching here recently, and some of you just started tuning in. So, what happened to the battery on my Honda Goldwing? Keep in mind that all Honda Goldwings come with a Yuasa battery, just like the battery here. It comes standard on the Honda Goldwing. The cranking amps is about 250 for the Yuasa battery. The same battery goes on the previous generation and also on the newer style Honda Goldwing. The Yuasa battery that was originally in my Honda Goldwing that looks like this one. This is not the original. The original battery lasted approximately 5 years. I didn't have any issues out of that Yuasa battery. After about 5 years, I had to replace it. So I replaced it with the Magna Power. The battery that's in this Honda Goldwing now is a Magna Power. The cranking amps on this battery is about 310 cranking amps. So I was actually upgrading from a 250 cranking amps to a 310 cranking amps. Once I replaced the original Yuasa with the Magna Power, I did not have any issues with my Honda Goldwing battery. A little bit later, I purchased a newer style Honda Goldwing, which is a DCT model. 3 months after purchasing that 21 DCT, I started having some battery issues. I noticed that when I go into, or rather when I take a ride and I go into maybe a restaurant and come back out and try to crank the bike wouldn't crank. And this happened several times. So I took the 21 around and had the battery tested. The battery test reveals that the battery was good in my DCT, but I was constantly having this issue of the bike not wanting to start. So I wasn't sure what was going on with it. As a result, I purchased a new Duracell battery for that particular Honda Goldwing. So I took out the Yuasa battery, which is the one here below me. This is the one that came out of the DCT. It was questionable. I took out that Yuasa and I put in a Duracell battery inside of the DCT. If you guys missed that video, you can click on the link in the top corner. After putting in the Duracell battery, I put the Yuasa battery on the shelf. In the back of my mind, I've always wondered, was it the battery? Or was it my Goldwing? I didn't think it was the Goldwing because the Goldwing is brand new. I was believing that the problem was with the battery and not with the Honda Goldwing, but I wasn't absolutely sure. So my next step was taking out the Magna Power that I had previously installed on the Honda Goldwing. So I took out the Magna Power, put it on the shelf, and I put the questionable Yuasa battery inside of the previous generation Honda Goldwing. I didn't do a video. I didn't even let you guys know that I was experimenting with this questionable Yuasa battery. The original Yuasa battery that I took out of the previous generation Honda Goldwing, I turned it in for a core charge. So I did an experiment. I took out the Magna Power that I had no issues with. I put it on the shelf. I swapped it into the Yuasa battery from the DCT, the questionable Yuasa battery. I didn't put a video up. I didn't post. You guys didn't know it. As far as you guys are concerned, I was still running the Magna Power. So I put in the Yuasa battery and I ran that battery for 2.5 years. And it did pretty good. I've always wondered in the back of my mind, how long is this battery going to last? Because it was giving me grief on the DCT Honda Goldwing. Fast forward into the future, I took a trip out to California with the questionable Yuasa battery that was in the Honda Goldwing at that time. After returning back home from a 4,000 mile trip, about a week later, I went to crank the Honda Goldwing. The bike wouldn't start. So come to find out that the Yuasa battery had proper voltage, but it didn't have enough cranking amps. I'm noticing that with some of these batteries, these acid lead batteries, that you may have enough volts, but you might not have enough cranking amps. And that's what was going on in my case, which brings me to the video that I posted about my trip to California killed my Honda Goldwing. After I posted that video, the responses was overwhelming. So some of you question the lights that I have on my bike. For you viewers that question my lights, I want you guys to know that a few years ago that I changed out every halogen bulb on my Honda Goldwing. I changed it out with a low power LED light. I changed out the headlights, high beams, low beams, tail lights, brake lights, marker lights, even on my trailer. Every light that I run now is a low power LED light. LED consume less power than those original halogen bulbs that came on the Honda Goldwing. As a matter of fact, my bike pulls less amps now with LED bulbs than it was pulling with those halogen bulbs. For my viewers that thought maybe I had too many lights on my Honda Goldwing was the culprit, you are 100% absolutely incorrect. Also, for the viewers that thought it was my alternator, I tested the alternator. It's putting out the proper volts. It puts out anywhere between 14.3, 14.5 volts. Shortly after starting the Honda Goldwing, the same on the DCT. So it's not my alternator. For those viewers that thought it was my alternator, you too are absolutely 100% incorrect. Some of you even mentioned the battery terminals, that my battery terminals may need to be tightened. A great suggestion, but also you're 100% incorrect. Some of you even mentioned about a parasitic amp draw. Parasitic amp draw is a situation to where your bike could actually draw amps from the battery when the bike is off. You're also 100% incorrect. I do not have a parasitic amp draw when the bike is not running. The culprit was the Yuasa battery. Again, I've talked about this in a previous video with these battery manufacturers. A lot of them are using recycled lead and the batteries are not holding up. They're just not keeping their charge. Some of you might even say, well, my Yuasa lasted 8 years or 10 years. Well, consider yourself one of the lucky ones. Keep in mind that some of the things that are being manufactured now are not being manufactured as good as they once were. So you may have a Yuasa battery that lasted 3 times longer, whereas the newer lead acid Yuasa battery may only last 3.5 years, like the one that I took out of the DCT that died when I came back from California. So keep that in mind. So I hope this video helps some of you out that was wondering what happened to the Honda Goldwing. The culprit was the battery. Right now, I took the Magna Power that was on the shelf and I put it back into the Honda Goldwing, and this is the Yuasa battery that didn't hold up. It has great voltage, but not enough cranking amps. So if I need to start the bike, I have the Magna Power on the Honda Goldwing. and I'm looking at my voltage gauge, the alternator is charging fine. The problem was the battery. It was not the bike. No parasitic amp draw loss, no lights that are pulling too many volts, no bad alternator, no loose terminals, just a bad battery. It happens. If your battery hasn't gone out yet, consider yourself one of the lucky ones. Last but not least, I want you to stay tuned to my channel because I'm going to be getting away from these acid lead batteries. I'm going to be upgrading to lithium ion, much better batteries. So stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to be changing out both batteries on my DCT and also on the previous generation. I'm going to change them out with lithium ion batteries because they're more expensive, but it's a better quality battery. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment down in the comment section below if you guys have any questions or any concerns about anything that I talked about here in this video. If you like the video, click the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you a little bit later out here in the Caliente garage.
Dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette. Yeah. Riding around the city with a